Breaking news. Raiders fans, something huge is happening behind the scenes, and it could completely change the future of Las Vegas football. Potential blockbuster move is on the horizon, and trust me, you'll want to hear every detail. This is the kind of story that keeps fans on the edge of their seats. So buckle up, because the drama is just getting started. Reports out of Las Vegas suggest that the Raiders are circling around a major defensive addition. After a standout season, one veteran pass rusher is drawing serious attention. With 9 sacks to his name last year and a proven track record, he could be exactly what the Raiders need to bring consistent pressure off the edge. But before we dive deeper into the latest updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and hit that bell icon, because you don't want to miss a single piece of breaking NFL news. Now let's move on to the latest developments. The countdown to the 2025 season is underway, and one of the biggest questions for the Raiders remains their secondary. The defense has struggled for consistency, especially at cornerback. Names like Eric Stokes and Darnay Holmes were expected to step up, but so far they haven't given the Raiders the reliability they desperately need. Things are so unsettled that coaches may even rotate multiple cornerbacks in week one, a rare and risky move. With young players like Darian Porter, QL Kelly, and DeCarrion Richardson all fighting for a starting role, the secondary remains one of the most unpredictable areas of this roster. However, one name could instantly stabilize this defense: Jabril Peppers. Raiders fans who followed his career with the Giants and Patriots know he's more than just a safety. He's a versatile veteran who brings leadership, physicality, and the ability to adapt quickly to new defensive schemes. Patrick Graham could use him not just as a safety, but as a game changer in coverage packages where the Raiders have struggled most. If there's one move that could shift the balance for the Raiders heading into a brutal 2025 schedule, this might be it. And this is where Jabril Peppers changes the entire conversation. Picture this: Jeremy Chin sliding into the slot, a role where he's already proven to be more effective than Darnay Holmes. Now add Peppers into the equation, anchoring the safety position with the kind of confidence and toughness this defense has been missing. Suddenly, the Raiders have options, real options, in a division stacked with elite quarterbacks who punish even the smallest mistake. Here's the reality: in the AFC West, hesitation on defense isn't just costly, it's fatal. The Raiders cannot afford to open the season relying on guesswork. They need stability, they need experience, and most of all, they need a player who can adapt on the fly. That's where Peppers becomes more than just a safety, he becomes a weapon. His versatility allows the defense to shift looks mid-game, disguise coverages, and keep opposing offenses guessing. Imagine an opponent preparing for one matchup, only to find Peppers lined up in a completely different role, throwing their timing off and forcing mistakes. That's the kind of unpredictability that can turn close games into wins. Let's be honest, the Raiders' offense has shown it can hold its own. But without a defense capable of shutting down the division's biggest threats, playoff hopes fade fast. With Peppers, though, the secondary gains not only strength, but also flexibility, an essential edge in one of football's toughest divisions. This isn't just about adding another veteran to the roster. It's about plugging the very hole that has cost the Raiders season after season. If there's one move that could give this defense an identity, it's this one. Peppers doesn't just fill a spot, he redefines it. But the Raiders' challenges don't end in the secondary. The pass rush, a pillar of any winning defense, remains unsettled. Max Crosby continues to dominate as one of the league's fiercest edge rushers, but the other side of the line, that's where the uncertainty begins. Malcolm Coons was a bright spot in 2023, flashing the kind of explosiveness that gave fans real hope. But a knee injury in 2024 has left his future cloudy. Banking on a player still fighting through recovery is a gamble the Raiders can't afford. And then there's Jerry Wilson, a first-round pick who has yet to deliver on the high expectations set for him. One underwhelming season doesn't write a career, but the clock is already ticking for Wilson to prove he belongs. In a division where Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert stand ready to shred defenses at the slightest weakness, leaving the pass rush exposed is like walking into battle without armor. Raiders need reinforcements, immediate ones. That's where a veteran presence like Zadarius Smith comes into the picture. At 32, Smith is still producing at a high level, coming off a 9-sack season that showed he has plenty left in the tank. Leased by Detroit for financial reasons, he now sits on the market as one of the most experienced and respected pass rushers available. For Las Vegas, this wouldn't just be about adding depth, it would be about adding certainty. Smith can line up in multiple spots, disrupt protection schemes, and take pressure off Crosby, creating the kind of 1-2 punch that keeps quarterbacks uneasy from the first snap to the last. The Raiders can't afford to open the season with question marks hanging over their defensive front. Adding a battle-tested veteran like Smith could be the move that transforms doubt into confidence and turns a vulnerable pass rush into one of the most feared units in the AFC West. Now imagine the possibilities if the Raiders truly unleash their pass rushing arsenal. With Max Crosby, Malcolm Koonce, and a veteran like Zadarius Smith all on the field together in passing downs, the picture changes dramatically. Three relentless defenders crashing the pocket at once. It's the kind of pressure that forces quarterbacks into panic mode, throwing passes before they're ready or taking sacks they can't avoid. That's exactly the chaos the Raiders need to survive in a division where standing still means falling behind. And here's the thing, this move isn't just about talent, it's about timing. With over $26 million in cap space, the Raiders have the flexibility to add Smith without sacrificing other critical needs. It's a rare opportunity to strengthen a weakness while sending a clear signal across the league. Las Vegas is serious about competing now, not later. The AFC West is unforgiving. Mahomes, Herbert, and even Denver's revamped attack are waiting to punish any defensive slip-up. Without stability up front, the Raiders risk being outmatched before the season even gets going. But with Smith anchoring the line alongside Crosby, the defense gains not just strength, but an identity, an edge that's been missing for far too long. Still, the real question lingers. Is this roster truly ready to silence its critics? For all the excitement, analysts remain skeptical. CBS Sports' Jeff Kerr has the Raiders projected at just 6 wins and another season outside the playoff picture. That's the challenge in front of this team. The potential is there, the weapons are there, but potential has never been enough in the NFL. The countdown to 2025 has already begun. The only question now, will the Raiders finally break through and prove they belong among the contenders? Some analysts may have penciled the Raiders in for another losing season, but those predictions don't tell the whole story. Inside the building, Pete Carroll and his coaching staff believe this group is capable of far more. Training camp has been competitive, preseason battles have reshaped the depth chart, and for the first time in years, there's a sense that real change might be taking root. New arrivals, positional reshuffling, and the growth of younger players have all added to the optimism. But in the brutal landscape of the AFC West, promise alone isn't enough. Facing the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert means every flaw will be exposed, every weakness targeted. And right now, the greatest test still lies on defense. The secondary remains a concern. Eric Stokes and Darnay Holmes have yet to prove they can lock down their roles, leaving uncertainty at a position that simply can't afford it. For the Raiders to turn potential into results, upgrades are non-negotiable. That's where Jabril Peppers could be the difference. His familiarity with Patrick Graham's system and his versatility make him more than just a plug-in safety. He's a stabilizer who can give Jeremy Chin the freedom to thrive in the slot. Coverage has been the Achilles' heel of this defense, and Peppers offers a real chance to tighten it. Meanwhile, on the line, Zadarius Smith represents another potential turning point. His ability to generate pressure from multiple spots doesn't just add depth, it adds a new dimension to the Raiders' pass rush. Pair him with Crosby and a healthy Koonce, and suddenly the defensive front transforms from vulnerable to dangerous. For the Raiders, these moves aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. If executed, they could be the pieces that finally shift Las Vegas from promising to proven. The season ahead is shaping up not as another rebuild, but as a defining test. Can the Raiders rise above doubt and take their place among the AFC's contenders? Zadarius Smith's versatility adds a valuable layer to the defensive front, especially if Malcolm Koonce needs more time to fully regain form after surgery. His presence, combined with Crosby's dominance, could create one of the most disruptive tandems in the division. But even with veteran reinforcements, the story of this season will hinge on the growth of young talent. Tyree Wilson and Koonce represent the future of this defense. Their development will decide whether the Raiders can sustain pressure across 4 quarters, or fall back into the same old struggles. At the same time, the offense must sharpen its identity. Leadership, timing, and consistency will be critical if the Raiders hope to keep pace in a division loaded with high powered attacks. So here's the real question: will 2025 finally be the year the Raiders turn the corner? Or will it be another season of what could have been? The pieces are there: veteran leadership, promising youth, and the financial flexibility to make bold moves. But putting those pieces together is what separates contenders from pretenders. For the Raiders, the time for excuses is over. The AFC West won't wait, and neither will the critics. If Jabril Peppers solidifies the secondary, if Zadarius Smith bolsters the line, and if the young core rises to the occasion, this team could finally break through. The season ahead won't just be about wins and losses. It will be about proving whether the Raiders are ready to shed years of inconsistency and step into the conversation as true playoff contenders.